Imagine a time when the newly formed United States was on the brink of chaos, not from foreign invasion, but from an unexpected rebellion within its own borders. In the 1790s, frontier farmers faced a new, oppressive tax on whiskey, a vital part of their lives and livelihoods. What started as a protest against unfair taxation soon escalated into a dramatic clash between rural insurgents and the federal government, threatening the very fabric of the young republic. Join us as we uncover the riveting story of the Whiskey Rebellion, a rebellion that tested the limits of federal authority and shaped the future of American governance. In 1791, Alexander Hamilton, Secretary of the Treasury, introduced an excise tax on distilled spirits. This tax was part of Hamilton's financial plan to address the United States Revolutionary War debt. While intended to stabilize the economy, it faced fierce opposition from farmers in western Pennsylvania. For these farmers, whiskey was more than a beverage. It was essential to their livelihoods. The tax was viewed as an unfair burden on the frontier regions, setting the stage for significant unrest and resistance. In western Pennsylvania, whiskey was crucial due to the difficulties of transporting bulky grains. Farmers distilled their surplus grain into whiskey to make it more marketable and profitable. The new tax on whiskey directly impacted their income, sparking anger and resentment. Many viewed the tax as an unjust imposition by a distant federal government. This sense of economic hardship and perceived injustice ignited a growing resistance against what they saw as federal overreach. By 1792, resistance to the whiskey tax had intensified. Farmers and distillers began to defy the tax openly, refusing to pay and harassing federal tax collectors. The protests included acts of intimidation and violence against those enforcing the tax. The unrest was not solely about the tax, but reflected broader opposition to what was seen as federal encroachment on local autonomy. As tensions rose, the initial protests evolved into more organized and militant resistance. By early 1794, the resistance had grown more organized. Leaders like David Bradford formed militias and escalated their actions against federal authorities. These militias targeted tax collectors, burned properties, and prepared for further confrontations. The insurrection represented a serious challenge to federal authority, with the rebellion becoming a significant test of the new government's ability to maintain control over its territories and enforce its laws. In response to the escalating violence, President George Washington took decisive action. He issued a proclamation demanding that the insurgents disperse and called up a militia force of around 13,000 men. This mobilization was the largest of its kind in U.S. history up to that point, demonstrating the federal government's resolve to enforce the law. Washington's leadership and the show of military force were critical in addressing the rebellion and reasserting federal authority. In the summer of 1794, President Washington personally led the federal troops to the rebellious areas. The sight of such a large and well-equipped force had a dramatic effect on the rebellion. Many insurgents, realizing they could not win against the overwhelming force, began to surrender or flee. The presence of federal troops quickly dismantled the organized resistance, leading to the restoration of order and federal control in the region. As Washington's troops advanced, the rebellion rapidly lost momentum. Key leaders, including David Bradford, were captured or surrendered. The decisive actions by the federal government effectively ended organized resistance. By late 1794, the Whiskey Rebellion had been largely suppressed, and federal authorities regained control. The swift and effective response demonstrated the government's ability to enforce its laws and maintain order even in the face of significant internal dissent. The Whiskey Rebellion had lasting effects on American politics and society. It underscored the federal government's capacity to enforce its laws and set a crucial precedent for federal authority. The rebellion highlighted the deep-seated tensions between federal policies and the needs of rural communities. These tensions continued to shape American political discourse. revealing the challenges of governing a diverse and expanding nation. In response to the unrest, the federal government sought to address some of the grievances of the frontier farmers. Recognizing the need for a more balanced approach, the whiskey tax was repealed in 1802. This repeal was a move toward easing tensions and demonstrated the government's willingness to adapt to the needs of its citizens. The action helped improve relations between the federal government and frontier communities, addressing some of the economic burdens imposed by the tax. The Whiskey Rebellion remains a significant event in American history, illustrating early struggles with federal authority and regional resistance. It tested the young nation's resolve and provided important lessons in governance. The legacy of the rebellion highlights the complexities of balancing federal power with regional autonomy and serves as a reflection on the evolving nature of American democracy and governance. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most fascinating scandals, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Silent Centuries. We're uncovering forgotten tales and hidden stories from the past every week, and you won't want to miss out on our next captivating episode. Join our community of history enthusiasts, and let's explore the secrets of silent centuries together. Click the bell icon to get notified whenever a new video drops. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.